And that's how our fabulous journey to the center of the earth ended. It was an exciting and truly unique adventure, during which we explored some extraordinary places and made a great new friend, the wonderful Hans. When my uncle and I departed for home, we invited Hans to come with us to introduce him to our city. On the train ride back to Hamburg, I could only think of one mouse, Gruben. I hadn't seen her for months. How I missed her. My uncle joked, "Well, are you happy, you romantic rat? At last your dreams of love will come true." I smiled. For them to come true, I need to, well, marry her. My uncle approved, then asked her for her paw in marriage. "You certainly have my blessing." I embraced him. We had very different personalities, but we loved each other, and that was what really counted. Finally, on September 9, 1863, we arrived back in Hamburg. My beloved Gruben was waiting for me at the station. When I saw her, I ran over to her to hold her close. Her big eyes were shining. I would have shouted, "Great Gruda Gruben, what a joy to see you again!" But I was so emotional that I couldn't even speak. Gruben smiled and said, "Oh, Axel, I was so worried. Weeks and weeks passed, and you didn't return. I'm so glad you're all right." I saw my uncle peering at us and giggling. He was happy for us. The beautiful house at 19 King Street was just as I left it. My voyage had lasted only a few months, but I had so many amazing experiences that it seemed as though years had passed. Our cook Martha welcomed us like heroes. To celebrate our return, she made fried potatoes and cakes galore. She also made Hans' favorite dishes, which gave him great satisfaction. He had the appetite of 4 mice. How wonderful it was to have food in abundance and as much water as we wanted to drink as far after so much time. My uncle was ecstatic. He had managed to save the majority of his notes from the journey and now wanted to share our undertaking with the scientific community. He wanted everyone to learn about the landscape at the center of the earth and how the world of wonders hidden below the earth's crust. The return of Professor Lindenbrock to Hamburg didn't go unnoticed, and the city put on a great celebration for him. Our house was invaded by a crowd of scholars, geologists, mineralogists, and also journalists. Everyone was curious to hear stories about the center of the earth, and they invited us to conferences, conventions, interviews, even ceremonies. The story of our journey was translated into every language. The whole world knew the extraordinary work of Professor Otto Lindenbrock and his brave nephew. The front page of every newspaper spoke only of us, guided by the legendary records of the alchemist Arne Saknussemm. Two fearless scientists and their friend delved deep into the earth, headed straight for glory. I was pleased even though I knew I wasn't really a scientist. I was also proud an intrepid explorer of the abyss, the prince of science, and the hero of the volcano. Some of these descriptions filled me with pride, while others made me embarrassed. For me, this journey had been more than a scientific expedition. At the center of the earth, I had learned to overcome my fears, to trust in those who love me, and the value and to value the things that I had always taken for granted, like readily available drinkable water, a nice bowl of soup, and a friend you can count on.